Okay, let's take this deep dive. We're looking at a source today based on a recent PIFA poll about public opinion in Kenya. KTN News covered it on YouTube.
Right. And our goal here really is to unpack what this poll tells us about how Kenyans are actually feeling right now, about the country's direction.
And yeah, right off the bat, the main headline from this poll seems pretty clear, doesn't it?
It really does.
A huge majority feel Kenya's on the wrong track.
It's a striking figure.
Mhm.
So this TIFA survey, it was done recently, May 2nd to 6th, 2025, over 2,000 people.
Okay.
And it found, a dominant 75% believe Kenya is headed the wrong way.
75%, wow.
And what's really notable, like the source points out, is how much that's jumped. Just back in September 2023, that number was 49%.
Okay, so that's a massive increase from 49 to 75 in what, 8 or 9 months?
Exactly, a really sharp rise. Now only 14% feel things are actually going in the right direction.
That is significant. So, okay, the big question then is why? Did the poll get into the reasons behind this pessimism?
It did, yeah. They asked people why they felt that way. And the leading factor, the main issue cited by 45% of those who are pessimistic.
Let me guess. Cost of living.
You got it. The rising cost of living. It points very clearly to, economic pressures hitting people hard.
That makes sense. The daily struggle, just affording things, that's a major driver then.
Definitely the biggest single reason mentioned.
Were there other big concerns, things people brought up for feeling the country's off track?
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't just the economy, though that was number one. People also frequently mentioned unemployment,
Right.
corruption, and also just concerns about poor governance in general.
Okay, so a mix of economic pain and issues with how things are being run.
Yeah, it seems these things together are feeding that feeling that the country isn't just stuck, but maybe heading the wrong way.
So let's shift gears slightly. The
Yeah.
poll also touched on politics, specifically this broad-based government idea.
It did. It asked about the government formed by President Ruto and ODM leader Odinga.
And what was the sentiment there?
Well, the survey shows pretty clear opposition, actually. 54% of Kenyans said they're opposed to it.
Over half. Okay.
Yeah, compared to 22% who support it. And then you've got about a quarter, 25%, who didn't really have an opinion or weren't sure.
And I remember reading the source noted some regional differences on that point. It wasn't the same everywhere.
That's right. Support wasn't uniform. The Central Rift region showed the highest support, around 37%.
Okay.
But then in contrast, places like Kenya and Lower Eastern, support was way down, like 13% and 12%.
So that adds another layer to understanding how people view that political setup.
Definitely. Regional perspectives matter.
The poll also looked ahead, didn't it?
Hmm.
It's something really crucial for democracy confidence in elections.
Yeah, and this part really kind of underlines some of the trust issues maybe reflected elsewhere in the poll.
What did it find?
The source indicates only 20%, just 1 in 5 Kenyans, believe the next election in 2027 will actually be free and fair.
Only 20%. That's low.
It is. And the poll also picked up on doubts people apparently raised about how transparent the last election, the 2022 one, was.
Right. Okay, so let's try and pull this all together for you, the listener. We have this widespread feeling the country's off track.
Driven largely by cost of living, jobs, governance concerns.
Then specific views on the current political structure with majority opposition.
And on top of that, really low confidence in future elections being fair.
So what's the big picture takeaway here?
Well, it tells us the mood is pretty pessimistic, and it seems very tied to real-world daily challenges, economic hardship, governance worries, and significantly, there's this undercurrent of low trust in political processes, even looking ahead to the next election.
Right. These aren't just abstract numbers. They reflect people's real experiences and views on institutions.
Exactly.
So to quickly wrap up our deep dive, this TIFA poll, as reported, shows a sharp rise in Kenyans feeling the country's on the wrong path. Key drivers: economic pain like cost of living, plus issues like unemployment and governance.
And alongside that, you see opposition to the broad-based government structure and, maybe most worryingly, very low confidence in the fairness of future elections.
Okay, so here's a final thought, building on that, for you to consider.
Given that so many people feel things are going wrong, mainly because of basic issues like cost of living and governance, and they also doubt the fairness of elections, what might that combination mean? What could be the implications of that widespread sentiment for, say, stability or the political landscape down the road? What does this poll really make you think about?